if you can be anything, be kind. And that really rang a bell with me, because in a world that's like filled with a bunch of hate, violence, all this stuff, just be kind, to be a good person. And, it helps a lot.
Welcome to the Evolved Podcast, an open forum on personal growth and cultivating a positive mindset. I'm your host, Joe Fitzpatrick. Today on the show, we have one of my sisters, Catherine Whitman. Catherine is an advocate for busy moms who also value physical fitness and strength. Her husband, Jeff, actually met her on the treadmill at their gym while they were both in high school. She is the middle child of my 4 siblings. She currently lives in Virginia Beach with her husband and their 2 boys, who are now 2 years old and 11 months old, Irish twins. Before having kids, Catherine worked in physical therapy, and she has been a stay-at-home mom since her first son was born. Her passions include health and fitness, enjoying time out in the fresh air with her kids, cooking and baking, and spending time with our family. Let's go. Hi, Catherine. Welcome to the Evolved Podcast. Good to see
Hi.
you.
Good to see you too.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
The boys?
They're good, crazy as usual, but Jeff took them out for a little bit so that we could do this in peace. Or else
That's great. Yeah, so they're on a walk now?
Yeah, he took them out for a walk when he got back from work.
Awesome. Do you guys take them out a lot to exercise? I know they've been biking as well, right?
We try to take them out on the bike. The last 2 times Easton was not having it with his helmet, so we didn't get to go. But we take them on a lot of walks. We try to get out in the fresh air a lot. So that helps.
Yeah. I haven't seen your new house yet, but what's the neighborhood like where you guys are living now?
So we're right in Kingston and Kings Grant, which is a really nice school district, a nice area. We're right by the soccer field, Brill Field, out in Virginia Beach. And it's very nice location, good neighborhood, good school zone, like I said. So it's really nice.
That's great. And have you started like looking at the schools for when the boys are that age?
Yeah, so Kingston is actually an elementary school up the street, so that will be a while before they go there. But we do have a few preschools around here that are supposed to be really great that our mom actually got in touch with yesterday to ask about the registration for Easton for next year. So we'll have to talk to them in January about enrollment for the spring of 2023 for him once he turns 3. So he's got another year at home, and then we'll think about preschool at that point.
Yeah, cool. So for those people who don't know, this is Catherine. She's my sister, the middle sister of the Fitzpatrick 5. And you got married in 2019, correct? To Jeff, my brother-in-law, your husband. And you got 2 boys together now?
We do.
Yeah, and I know those guys are a huge part of your life, but before we get into that, I want to go back and explore your life prior to that. So starting off, can you please just introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what you do, and what you're passionate about?
Okay. So I'm Catherine Ann Whitman now. My maiden name was Fitzpatrick. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I used to work as a physical therapist technician before I got married and had kids. I stopped working with COVID and then having my son and then another son after that. So I've been staying home with my 2 and 1-year-old now, the last 2 years, and just really with them all the time. And did you ask what my passions are? Is that was the other question?
Yeah.
So I would say health and fitness have been a big passion of mine my whole life and still are. And then just family, just enjoying time with my boys and spending time together.
Hmm. Yeah, and you were really active growing up. You played a lot of different sports like soccer and field hockey, and I know that that was a big focus of your life early on. Um, and then you went off to college. You seem like you stopped playing sports based on what I know, and then you just got more into like individualized workouts. Is that accurate?
That's right. I went to University of Mary Washington my freshman year to play field hockey actually. And I kind of picked the school for the sport, not the actual academics or anything else. And I just kind of was homesick all year, didn't really like it. So I ended up moving back and transferring to Old Dominion University, which was, I was just going back and forth, staying at home at that point. Um, but yeah, so field hockey and soccer were my main sports. I did play basketball a little bit and I enjoyed running. And then, like you said, after kind of college time, I just kind of got into my own workouts. I got into swimming because I was a lifeguard for a little bit. I
Right.
at one point do a triathlon, but I never did one. Just kind of training on my own, doing like running, swimming, biking, and then I got into weightlifting a few years later. Um, but I would say running was the majority of my exercise for the longest time, and then I finally got into kind of weightlifting and doing other things.
Have you considered training and competing in a triathlon? I know Becca has done a few, and I've thought about doing it myself. In fact, I'm looking at a few coming up this fall uh, to possibly do.
Nice. I did think about it when I was kind of more into biking and running and swimming, but I've kind of gotten out of all that with injuries and everything. I haven't been running much. I just kind of stick to walking now with the
Yeah.
boys stroller. But I do miss swimming and biking on the road. I do have a stationary bike that I ride at home. It's just easier with the boys here, but
Mhm.
I can't just go out whenever I want and go out on my road bike or go swimming. I'm kind of stuck with that. So training wise, I wouldn't really be possible for me. Well, possibly, but not as easy.
Right.
Um, but I do miss all of that. And if I had the time and everything else, I probably would. And with my injury, I kind of have an Achilles injury right now, so it's preventing me from running. But just because of that, other than that, I would love to do a triathlon.
Yeah. How did you injure your Achilles?
So it's kind of a long-term injury that's kind of gotten worse over the years. I think it was originally from overuse and running. I thought possibly I could have like torn at one point, but I've been told that you wouldn't be able to walk if you tore your Achilles, like
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just really inflamed and it's like just painful to the touch if I use it too much, and especially with running, just all the pounding. Um, just is not good. I've gotten x-rays on it and they don't see any broken bones or anything. So at this point, I'm like, I have to either get an MRI or something's not right. Like they're not seeing something. So um, I actually looked up like the symptoms of what I had, and it said something like Huglin's deformity, where it's like swollen and inflamed around the Achilles, just behind your ankle. And it looks like it could be that, but the doctor that I talked to didn't know anything about that. So kind of just on my own trying to figure out what to do with it at this point.
Yeah. They don't think it's plantar fasciitis.
That is, I think that's more the bottom of your foot that kind of goes up a little bit. And I've had that before. It feels like a different pain from that. Um, but it's definitely very uncomfortable, like around the Achilles there. So I've just been kind of dealing with that. I still work out, but it's not like high intensity, high impact stuff
Right.
that that
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You have to deal with that, and I didn't know that. And yeah, I mean, it's good you're able to walk at least, and you're able to ride on your stationary bike.
right.
You still have your road bike at home. You're not able to use it.
Right. I have it, and well, once I got pregnant, I was using a bike trainer, and doing it inside. So it
Hmm.
still felt kind of like cycling, but now we just have like a regular spin bike. I do have it. I just have to get new tires and stuff because
Yeah.
the trainer wore the tires out. Like I didn't, I don't know what happened with that, but new tires, and then maybe I could ride it again. I do have a beach cruiser as well.
Nice. Yeah. We got to get another family bike ride in. I know Becca has her road bike, and I have a couple bikes now.
Yeah.
So it'll be really fun.
If Jeff's up for watching the boys, I can try to get some new tires and take it out.
That'd be sweet. Yeah. So, you were you were working at a physical therapist office, um, and you studying physical therapy at ODU? Is that
I
correct?
a little bit, yes. I applied for the physical therapist assistant program after I had done the CNA certified nursing assistant program, which I went through, and I was going to get a job with that, and I didn't really like it, so I didn't keep pursuing nursing. So I kind of was back and forth between that and exercise science as a major. And I didn't make it into the physical therapist assistant program. So I was just working as a technician, trying to get actually volunteer hours at first for the program. You needed a certain amount of hours in order to apply. And then that just kind of landed me a job in the field. And I just continued with that as a job.
So you were pursuing the nursing degree, right? And then did you like change majors, or did you like what happened there?
Yeah, I ended up changing majors a couple times actually.
Yeah.
um, And yes, it was exercise science originally, and then I switched to nursing, and then I went back to exercise science. So I already had some of the classes that I needed, and
Mhm.
nursing and exercise science in the beginning are kind of similar with the sciences. So it's kind of a little bit easier for me to transition from one to the other, but still kind of set me back a little bit, um, switching majors a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely complicated, and it can be hard to choose like what track you want to be on.
Right.
Why'd you decide that nursing wasn't for you?
Um, I think long term, like looking back, I probably would have liked it if I kept pursuing with it. But the certified nursing assistant program I went through is kind of like the nitty gritty, all the dirty work you do.
Yeah.
And I kind of just steered me away. But if I stuck with it and actually did nursing, I think I probably would have liked it more than I thought. But I did always in the back of my head want to do something with exercise science at the same time. So
Hmm.
it was hard to make a decision about what to do, but
Right. Yeah, definitely. And did you finish your degree with exercise science?
I think I ended up with an associate's. I never got the full bachelor's with it just because I was working in that, trying to get into the program, didn't get in it, and then ended up
Mhm.
getting pregnant after that, and just didn't finish.
Is
No
that
mistake.
something you've thought about finishing now that you're, not pregnant anymore and
It's a
life's a
poss-
bit stable?
yeah. If the boys were a little bit older and I wasn't at home by myself, I think it'd be a little bit easier. Maybe in a few more years, I could think about finishing up that um, degree.
Yeah. And how do you feel now, being on the other side of that? You had to stop doing your career to become a full-time mom. Like how how's your relationship to what you were doing to like what you were doing now?
Um, so I was helping people in that field, which, I'm with my boys, I'm still helping them, but it's
Right.
totally different, older generation compared to a very young generation,
Yeah.
um, born almost and a toddler. So, I mean, it's completely different, but at the same time, I am used to liking helping people and caring for them. And that's what I do as a mom. So it was a big transition, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. So,
Yeah. And our mom, she stopped working for a long time after we were born, and she had a career in like mathematics and working with computers and stuff. Um, and then she put that on hold for a long time, for being at home to take care of us, and you sort of followed in her footsteps in some regard to, similar to that. So
Right.
would you say mom was like a big influence for you in terms of making that step in your life?
I think so. I think just wanting to be there for your children and watch them grow up, and not have other people watch them that you don't know. She's willing to watch them when she needs, and she does come over a lot to help with them.
Right.
But I don't put that pressure on one specific person or her, or somebody that I don't know. So Jeff and I decided if we could financially, I would say at least for their first few years and see how it goes, until they're ready for some type of schooling. And then I guess once they're kind of in school more, I'll figure out which way I'm going to go,
Mhm.
with my direction, finding another job maybe.
Yeah. And you guys are both fortunate in that, both of our families are in the same city as you.
Right.
Jeff's parents and our parents are both in the Virginia Beach area where you guys are at.
Yeah.
And you have good relationships with them, and they've been able to help out with childcare. I know that's really important, and not everyone has that luxury, especially as new parents.
Yes, definitely. It's very helpful. Jeff's parents are literally like 5 minutes right down the street, and mom and dad are maybe 10, 15 minutes away. So they're
Mhm.
super close.
Hey guys, brief pause in the episode to tell you about some of the great businesses that support this podcast. First, we got Weight Train. Use code Evolved Podcast to get 10% off all Weight Train and Athleticity gym gear and apparel. No matter what you need for your workouts, they have the gear to help you get it done. And if you don't see something you want, email them at team@weighttrain.com and they will take your requests for new products. Visit Weight Train for all your gym gear needs. Next is True Nutrition. Use code Evolved Podcast to get 5% off all nutrition supplements. I'm personally a fan of their soy isolate vegan protein powder, available in a variety of flavors and strengths, from light to heavy. They also have non-vegan protein powders if that's not your thing. I personally recommend the cinnamon bun and toasted coconut flavors in the heavy strength, and I add them to waffles, oatmeal, protein shakes, and ice cream. They're delicious. Check out their wide range of supplements at affordable prices that are third-party tested and verified for content quality. They are able to provide such great prices because the supplements come direct from the manufacturer without any marketing gimmicks or fancy labels. Visit truenutrition.com to supplement your workouts and your nutrition. Last is Hate Brand Goods. Use code Evolved Podcast to get 15% off all Hate Brand clothing and accessories. Their goat shorts and shirts are the most comfortable clothing I've ever worn, and they have the coolest designs. However, their clothing drops are only available in limited quantities, so get your favorites while you can, and be on the lookout for other drops that you're stoked on. Visit thehate.com, spelled HVIII, for clothing to remind the world that you're not dead yet and you're ready to kick today in the dick. Back to the show. You guys are both really into weightlifting. You and Jeff, you guys got your home gym set up, which I think did you guys start putting stuff together before the pandemic, or was it, after that happened?
It was pretty much right when the gym shut down. So it was right after COVID started, just before Easton was born. A couple months before we kind of started working out at home. And then once we moved, now we have a double garage, which makes it a lot better because before we just had one little sunroom.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot bigger now. So we had more room to buy some more equipment and kind of build it up a little bit. And we can go in and out of the garage too, which is nice. So it was, yeah, right after COVID hit, we started working out at home. We haven't been to the gym since. So
Yeah, and that's cool that like, people have been building up their home gyms more and making it more their own so they don't have to return to the gym,
right,
to work out. I wish I had that luxury, being able to do that. Living in an apartment, there's not as much space, but
right.
if I am ever to get a house in the future, that's definitely something I'm interested in setting up.
Yeah, definitely. It's just more convenient because you can go when, I mean, with me, I generally try to get up in the morning and do it first thing. And Jeff is nice enough to watch the boys before he goes to work so I can get it done. Because if not, then I might not be able to work out with being with the boys all day. It's
Yeah.
hard. So
Are
yeah,
they old enough, or is Easton old enough to come in there with you when you're working out and like not wreck shit?
no, not quite. He's into everything. So I would say give it another year or so. He might be a little bit more calm and be able to uh, keep him without, getting into everything, but not
Yeah,
quite still all over everything. And, he would probably
yeah.
hurt himself, but
Well, that I mean, it is cool too that you guys have that gym there because they can like like once they get a little more mature and more aware, like that you guys are working out and you're prioritizing your health and wellness, and you can be that positive influence for them in that way as well.
yeah.
Um, so that sort of leads into my next question. Like, what is your why for, taking care of your kids and, being present for them, prioritizing your health and wellness? Like, what does it all boil down to for you, for that sense of purpose?
I think just the way we grew up, our family, just, you know, um, our focus on health and fitness and doing stuff that taking care of your body for longevity. And um, I think I had a good example with our parents. They were always there for us, and I want to be able to be there for my children and set a good example and be a good role model to them. And um, that's, I guess, my why of the way I am in parenting, as
Yeah.
they you and want to emulate everything you do. Easton is like a little mime. He'll copy everything you do and say now. So it's like they're seeing everything, they're taking it all in. So you want to set a good example for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Jace, who's a little bit younger, he is younger, but he is like right behind him and
It's,
still picking up on, stuff that we're not aware of.
yes, definitely. Their minds, like it's amazing how much they grow in the first few years, just how much they're learning and developing. It's insane. Like just seeing from one day to the next, new words, new phrases, doing different things. It's crazy how fast they're like learning and growing. But it's
Right.
fun to
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. I think, our parents did prioritize taking care of ourselves as best possible. I didn't always appreciate that message growing up, but I definitely do appreciate it now. So I think they did establish a good foundation of trying to have healthy habits, that I was able to emulate and, add on my own, um, you know, practices to that, as I matured.
right.
Yeah.
I think
Um, yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I think we're also constantly learning too, like things you were like back then we weren't as mature and I think you start learning different things and realizing different things as you get older, and want to make the changes because you see you are getting older and you want to be able to have the body that you have for as long as you can and take care of it. and you don't always appreciate that when you're younger because you feel like
Yeah.
you can do anything, you're invincible. And then you start feeling different aches and pains, and you want to take care of your body as you get older.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Um, I am definitely aware of my mortality and that I am getting older. And I think that is a motivator for me
Definitely.
to take better care of myself, even if I'm not always like thinking about that.
Right.
Yeah. So do you have any passion projects that you do outside of taking care of your kids and working out?
Not really. The boys pretty much take up all my time right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's mainly they're my main focus right now. I wish I could say I do, but
Are you guys
um,
doing any renovations on your house?
we did renovate our kitchen, complete renovation, which was about 2 weeks of not being able to have a kitchen to cook in. So I was over our parents pretty much that whole time with the boys. But it's definitely worth it. It's so much better now and just a lot nicer.
Yeah, I bet. And I know you love to cook and bake, so I'm sure having a nicer updated kitchen is really like a good morale booster for you.
It is, yes, and it will definitely help to sell our home eventually when we do go to sell it. We've only lived here for, is it two? Almost a year now. Maybe two. No, no, it will be a year. Last December is when we moved in. So this coming December will be a year that we moved here. Um, but yeah, it's great. It's super nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to visit. Definitely overdue. Um,
I-
what's your like current workout routine like? You mentioned walking and weightlifting, but like what type of exercises are you doing?
So weightlifting, I generally follow kind of like a more of a bodybuilding type style program. Um, Different body parts, different days. So I break it up. I do shoulders and arms together, chest and back together, and then legs on a separate day. And then occasionally I'll throw in like a hit kind of circuit workout. And then so that's for weightlifting. I have the circuit or the spin bike, and we actually have a rowing machine also. And then we have a treadmill. I don't really use that since I can't really run and we walk outside a lot. So just walking the boys in the stroller.
Mhm.
Occasionally try to run, but it's not good for my foot. So I tend to
Yeah.
stick.
Have you ever done or considered doing competitive bodybuilding?
I thought about it at one point when Jeff and I were dating. He was kind of into that too, and he thought about doing a show. He was like all set on his meal plan and everything and cutting down, but he never did one. I think it takes a lot, and
Yeah.
if you want to have kids as a woman, it's not necessarily good for your overall health and your
Mhm.
hormones, which is we have to think of long term. Back then, probably wasn't even thinking about that. I just never did one, but
Right.
now it does make you realize, it's kind of a lot on your body, especially for women. But it is all props to people that do it because it takes a lot of motivation and dedication to do um, a show.
Right, and it depends on what your goals are, right? Like if you're trying to get more lean,
Right,
um, or build more muscle. Um, and I know like there's different tactics for like right before a show, like reducing the water from your body so you do look a little bit more lean.
right.
You're also fasting, which I know is not good if you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Um, depending on the circumstances. But yeah, I mean, I that's understandable. I was just wondering if you had ever done that before. Do you have any habits that you practice that help you to stay productive, remember new ideas, or add value to your life in other ways? And if so, what are they?
Let's see. Well, I guess sticking to, just like trying to eat as healthy as possible, working out, just setting an example for our children in that way. I feel like getting up and getting in that morning workout is like a game changer for me because I just feel like I'm just like so much more level-headed, clear mind. It's more than just the physical, it's about the mental too. And I think I'm just a better wife and mother if I can do that for myself and a little bit of self-care. Because some people think, well, it's selfish to do this or that without your kids and take the time away, but sometimes it's necessary to do in order to take care of yourself so that you can take care of your children. Um,
Yeah.
so I a lot with Jeff taking the boys in the morning so that I can do that before he leaves for work because then I'm with them all day and they are crazy.
Yeah. What time are you waking up usually to get your workout in?
So it used to be earlier. I haven't been as good as getting up as early as I used to, around 7-ish, which is this doesn't seem super early, but between 6:30 and 7 is generally around the time I get up. I would like for it to be more like 5:36, but I gotta get back to that.
Yeah. And after you've like woken up and done your workout, like what does your morning routine look like?
So if the boys haven't had breakfast yet, I'm getting them breakfast, and then our mom used to come over around 10 a.m. And come help with them for a few hours. When Jace was a little bit younger, like as a newborn, it was kind of hard for me to have time with Easton. So that's why she originally started doing that to help me with Easton, so that I could nurse Jace, and he kind of needed more attention when he was younger. He's gotten a little bit older now. He's a year. So mom and I just had the talk the other day that she's gonna not come as frequently, just because I'm able to deal with them both a little bit better now that he's getting older. But so after they get breakfast in the mornings, we usually just play outside, go to the park, um, and just hang out until pretty much their lunch and nap time. Our day is pretty much based around their schedule. So their lunch and nap is usually between 12 and 1. And then once they've napped, we're just kind of playing again. We have a nice backyard. They have a play set and trampoline. Um, and either going for a walk or doing something also besides the park throughout the day. Pretty much set schedule, same old stuff every day. And
Yeah.
then and having time as a family at night.
Besides working out and trying to eat healthy, are there any other ways that you practice self-care in your life so you can have more energy to focus on your personal growth?
Um, I guess this kind of goes with working out, but stretching and yoga.
Yeah.
Also, along with my husband got me a gift, a massage, like a year membership. So it's once a month, you're able to go, and it's been the last few years that I've had that. So that has helped a lot, having a massage every so often. And then I saw the chiropractor a little bit ago because I had a problem with my neck, kind of little kink that trying to work out. So he was able to do a little bit with that. I only went twice, but just to see what that was like. Just kind of taking care of your body. But yeah, not much else that I can think of for self-care, but it is definitely important. All I
Yeah,
need.
definitely. And like, do you go to the massage therapist every month if like you're able to, or do you like, do it like every other month? What does that look like for you?
Lately, it's been more every other month. When I first got it, I was trying to go kind of monthly. It's very hard to book where I go, especially weekends are basically the only time I have with Jeff working. It's kind of just more convenient for us to do it on a weekend, and they're always booked on weekends. So it hasn't been as frequently as I would like, but I do have it to where if I don't go on a certain month, it will roll over to the next month. So they build up and accumulate. So
Nice.
you can still use.
So if you hypothetically, if you didn't go for like 5 months, you could go for a week if you wanted to.
Yes, but I have like 6 hours built up right now to use. And one
Nice.
either 60 minutes or 90 minutes. So I do have a lot built up that I haven't been able to use yet, but I do need to get to that.
Well, I hope you can. I'm sure that's very relaxing.
It is.
Um, what's an obstacle that you're currently facing or recently faced, and what practices do you use to cope with it?
Hmm, that's a good question. I would say not necessarily an obstacle, but just the boys constantly, they're growing and changing, and every age and phase is different. Um, Easton's in his twos right now. Some people call it terrible twos. A
Right.
lot of tantrums and just like acting out, trying to see what he can get away with. He tends to do it more with me than with Jeff because he knows Jeff's more of like the stickler, and he's not gonna let him do like walk all over him and do what he wants. So he's like just in that phase where he wants to do what he wants and you know not want to be told no.
Hmm.
Um, so it's just kind of like, you want to be a good parent and be a good role model, but you also have to make sure that they're safe and, you know, um, doing the right thing. And, that kind of, they see it differently than us. They want to just be a kid and do what they
Right.
want. It's kind of hard at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm sure that is hard on both of you guys. Of course, maybe Jeff doesn't deal with it as much as you do, but um, you know, you are both in a relationship and have to deal with the kids on a regular basis. So it's
Right.
understandable. Yeah. And in regards to like um how you're doing like emotionally with everything, like I know you struggled with mental health in the past, as do I. um how is everything with your mental health now compared to how it used to be?
I will say, yes, I feel like I've kind of dealt with anxiety pretty much my whole life in certain ways. Looking back, I don't think I realized it until I got older.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't like, know exactly what anxiety was or knew why I was feeling the way I did, but
Hmm.
kind of like anxious feeling. That's kind of always been a part of me. And I remember having like separation anxiety as a kid, not wanting to leave my mom, our mom, like to go to school. And I hope our boys don't have that problem where they like, I guess a lot of kids have that where they don't want to leave their parents. It's a different environment and that's understandable. But
Yeah.
leading from there into my adult life, I feel like um, I did kind of just always still have that. And it's something I've had to deal with. Um, as a mom, it is kind of hard because a lot of women go through postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety.
Right.
Um, and I think I did kind of feel that a little bit more with Easton than with Jace. Just the transition into being a mom and having a baby, somebody else that you have to take care of 24/7. And somebody that, you have to be selfless and see it as their life is more important than yours pretty much. You're taking care of somebody that needs you and they rely on you. And just kind of the worry that comes with being a mom kind of increases your anxiety sometimes. That is something that I've had to deal with and just kind of, you know, different tactics that I have to use to try to calm myself down sometimes. And just know that it's kind of a part of me and it's something I have to deal with. But I feel like overall, I've been pretty good at dealing with it and taking care of myself. But I do have to, talk to Jeff sometimes and make him realize that, I still have this, I'm still going through this, and it's hard with the kids sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, so just having kind of a support system helps as well. Um,
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that with me. First of all, like, I have struggled with anxiety probably a lot longer than I realized as well. I think I started really like I started addressing it in like 2014. And it's coming in waves, right? Like, anxiety and depression. There are certain seasons of life where I've felt an- symptoms of anxiety and depression more than others. Like sometimes they're bad, sometimes they're good. And, um, you know, I've like gone to therapy. I've changed my lifestyle to try and help me cope with those feelings. And most recently, last year, almost a year now, I started taking medication, and that's been really helpful for me in this season of life that I'm in now. And I was just wondering, like, what have been some of the tactics that you've used for coping with your anxiety? Like, do you use medication? Do you see a therapist? What's been helpful for you?
So in the past, when I was still living with mom and dad, um, they did send me to a therapist. They wanted me to seek for the issues and kind of talk through it. And at one point, I did take medication. I think the side effects of it kind of after a while, I didn't want to be on it just because of the side effects. I felt like really tired, I think, if I remember right.
Remember
I,
what it was you were taking?
I think it was Prozac, I want to say.
Okay,
Um, and that might have been for more for like depression and anxiety at the time. I
right.
forget what they prescribed it for. I don't think I remember it being for anxiety. It could have been for depression at the time. But now I haven't seen a therapist in a long time. That was a while back. Um, I think I was just out of high school, maybe at that age. So it's been a good bit. And I don't take any medication either. But I would say just kind of when you're feeling anxious, to me, just, taking deep breaths, kind of centering yourself, thinking, trying to think more clearly. Because a lot of times I think we try to overthink things, blow things out of proportions, and that kind of gets in your head. So kind of just getting out of your head and, just realizing, hey, this is not a big deal, or hey, think of things differently. Just being positive and changing your mindset, I think helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. But I'm curious as to like what caused that mindset shift for you.
Um, thinking differently now with anxiety versus back then.
Yeah,
I think just growing up and maturing, honestly, just, wanting to be more positive and wanting to think differently than I did in the past, and learning and growing from the challenges and mistakes that I've faced before. And also being a wife and mother, trying to be better than the person I was before, and, just being there for my family and knowing that they need me. And, I got to take care of myself so that I can take care of them as well. I think that's helped a lot.
yeah, definitely. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So that leads pretty well into our first recurring segment of the podcast, which is mindset moment. What is a quote or tip that you use that inspires you to stay positive despite personal hardships?
Um, I'm not exactly sure of a quote with that. I do have a few other quotes that I don't know if they relate to that, but that I kind of just in my mind a lot.
Yeah,
And one recently, and it was, if you can be anything, be kind. And that really rang a bell with me, because in a world that's like filled with a bunch of hate, violence, all this stuff, just be kind, to be a good person. And, it helps a lot.
yeah,
And and then there's another one that's kind of more biblical. Um, and, just also just prayer, being close to God and talking to him. That also is another coping mechanism that's helped me as well. So Matthew 7:7 is ask and you shall receive, search and you will find, knock and it shall be granted to you. That's a quote that kind of has stuck with me as well. And I think it's kind of cool because there's three different senses in that. Asking is a more communication, verbal part of the quote. And then search and you will find, that's seeking with your mind. It's more mental. And knock and the door will be answered for you. And that's physical. You're actually doing something to try to get the answers that you're looking for. And with my journey, that's kind of a quote that is kind of, I guess, personal to me. And it's helped me a lot because you can ask God for something and you can search for answers and you can think that why is this happening to me, or why this time? And then later you're realizing, like, in the future you'll see why everything happened when it did. Everything happens for a reason. And when you're finally, talking to him, going through everything you're going through, and you're really truly hoping to change, hoping to grow, that's when everything starts to happen and it starts to unravel and you'll see his work in your life. And it's just kind of something that I feel like personal to me has helped a lot.
Awesome.
That
Next is PMA Warrior of the Week. Who is someone who inspires you to keep a positive mental attitude?
honestly, you for a while. You're
You're the first person to say that.
when you started, your journey with veganism and, trying to be positive and just growing and developing, like, it's just been, you're just like a great role model in that way. Changing your whole lifestyle, just following you along in your journey. I mean, you're my big brother, so gotta look up to you. But
I
just seeing
appreciate it.
like mental growth and everything and always being positive has helped a lot.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I definitely haven't always felt that way, but I've tried to project positivity as much as possible because I know, what something that's really stuck with me is if you fake it till you make it. And I've tried to apply that in areas of my life where, like, if I'm even if I'm not feeling positive, I feel if I try and project positivity and think positively, speak positively, then I will eventually feel more positive and not to like overly dwell in moments of despair or personal hardship, but just try and look for the next opportunity to move forward. And that's one of the reasons why I got keep moving forward tattooed on my wrist, because it's so important to continue to maintain that momentum and to try and keep going in a more positive direction rather than getting stuck in negative circumstances.
Exactly. I think that helps a lot.
Yeah.
It's all
Huh?
it's all in your head a lot of times. It's like if you think
Yeah,
positive, everything will be a lot better.
absolutely. Yeah. And lastly is good food, good mood. What is one of your go-to meals to help you feel your best?
Ooh. Let's see. I'm a big seafood eater. So I would say I love salmon. Um, and then probably with that, maybe broccoli and some type of starch like a sweet potato or potato, maybe quinoa. That's a power meal.
And you're pescatarian, right?
Yes. So I eat fish. And I just recently actually, well, I just recently started eating chicken again.
Okay.
But before I would say about a few weeks ago, I was for a while. I don't eat any red meats. I just started introducing chicken again, but I was pescatarian for a while. And before pescatarian, I was vegetarian and I did try vegan for a little bit. When you actually started doing that, I kind of was interested in all of it and I wanted to see how my body reacted to a different change in diet. So I went from vegan to vegetarian to pescatarian. Now I eat a little bit of chicken too. So it's just changing.
Right.
But
Well, I definitely agree. Everyone can benefit from eating more plant-based, even if they don't go all the way and, go full vegan or vegetarian. Um, and yeah, eating fruits and vegetables, grains, nuts, and seeds are great for you, and I'm sure that, whatever diet you're following, it's working for you because you look great, you're healthy and happy, and that's all we can hope for, right? So, Catherine, thank you so much for doing this podcast with me. I really enjoyed it. I hope you did too.
I did. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And if people want to connect with you, I know you got Facebook and Instagram. That's pretty much it, right?
Yes, just those two.
Yep. And what's your Instagram?
Instagram, I believe, is Catherine_Whitman.
Is it two
My name.
underscores?
I think it's just one. I'd have to double
Okay.
check.
We'll have to follow up on that, but I'll include a link to your Instagram in the show notes.
Sounds
So
good.
if anyone wants to connect with you, they can find you on there.
Yes.
Sweet. Thanks again, Catherine. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye. Hey guys, thanks for checking out our podcast. I hope you got a lot out of it and it was helpful for you in your personal growth journey. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, please do so on your preferred podcast provider. We're available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Stay blessed and keep the PMA. Later.